I have explained how we use horizontal and diagonal fixed solid lines for support and resistance. In this video, I want to show you how we use moving averages. I'm just going to remove these lines now, keep the charts a little more simple. A moving average, this is a fluid dynamic line, and what happens is this will follow price. All indicators follow price, they do not lead, and therefore they are in isolation not 100% reliable. However, they do give us clues as to the direction for price. And for example, in Dean's STT method, he uses the 10 and the 21 EMA as a clue for direction. For example, here you can see once this move has become established, there is a clear line between the two, and from a period from the middle of May to the end of May earlier this year, price was clearly in a downtrend. And apart from one spike through here, price failed to break the 21 EMA. And therefore, you can use this for direction, you can use it for stops. So for example, had you decided to short the Euro USD here, then you would place your stop above the EMA. Similarly here, here, here it would have lost, here it would have won. There are a number of types of EMAs. You can use a simple EMA, or as we use at Mentor Pro, we use exponential moving averages. And what that simply means is that price has been weighted and adjusted so that the indicator is nearer to current price. For example, I use a 200 EMA, and on a daily chart that represents the price going back 200 days. Because it's an EMA, that has been adjusted so that it is nearer to current price. There are dozens and dozens of permutations for EMAs, and I do use quite a few. However, Dean in his simple trend trading system only uses these two, and he will explain that in his section. Here is the dollar Swissy on a 4-hour chart. And once again, this is from the beginning of May. You can see how this line was support, apart from one spike here back at the beginning of May. And therefore, had you decided to long this pair here, you would place your stop just below the EMA, just below, 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 and all of those trades had a potential to win. What I'll show you now is how to add an EMA to your charts. On the top line of MetaTrader, you have an insert key, and there are lots and lots of indicators here that you can add to your charts. We want to add a moving average. In this case, we're going to add a 10 moving average. It is an exponential, as I explained to you, and it is applied to close. If you wish to add that indicator, simply click OK, and you now have that on your charts as well. From the point at which the 10 crossed over the 21, this move then continued up for the rest of May. However, you cannot trade simply from these EMA crosses. One of the members, Steve Cole, actually did a 6-year detailed study on EMA crosses and found at the end of the day, yes, they worked slightly to an advantage, but in reality, as with all Forex indicators, you cannot trade them in isolation. You cannot trade simply from candlesticks. You cannot trade simply from support and resistance. These are another tool in your armory. But here you can see as this move progressed, price never closed below the 21 EMA in the whole of this move, and therefore it is fluid support on each potential trade that you could have taken. Finally, at the top of the move, we get a break and close below, and for a little while at least, support became resistance as price struggled to break the EMAs, and then it set off again. Here is an example of an EMA in action. We are back on the Euro USD on a daily chart, and in a previous video I was showing you how we could use horizontal and diagonal support for a reason to take a trade, and I explained previously how we look for multiple reasons to take a trade. This one was attractive in that we were coming up to this confluence of horizontal support and diagonal, but I've also now added a 55 EMA. Now we have three very good reasons to give us support for the theory to short this pair, and it happened again down here. Another example is the CAD, and this is the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar on a weekly chart. And from the beginning of this year, from January right through till May time, you had the opportunity here to short the dollar CAD at the 55 EMA on a weekly chart on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 occasions when it won. 6 wins, 1 loss, purely from EMAs. Now once again, you also have the hugely important psychological level and whole number of 100 here, but EMAs do have their place. Finally, as an example, again on a weekly chart, this is the British pound, and recently we had the opportunity to short at 16300. 16300 was major previous support and resistance and a whole number, and we had this weekly 200 EMA in place. Now previously it had broken through here, that would have been a loss. This was a 5-6 weeks period of time where it did not close above and therefore gave you support for reasons to short this pair. And if we have a flick back through and show you how this pair has reacted to the 200 EMA going back years. But going back to 2005, you can see, apart from a few breaks through, how on numerous occasions here price broke away and bounced back off this 200 EMA. Again in 2003 and 2002, for a number of years it was support. Price failed to break through this area. In summary, we can use EMAs for clues as to a direction. We can use EMAs for support and resistance, and clues for potential trades, for potential stops, and for potential targets. When I say you can use an EMA for a potential target, let's look at this euro pound. The euro pound had bounced off a major area of previous support, and therefore traders who had decided to long the euro GBP have to calculate where they think that price is going to turn. The big clue here on this daily chart was we could look for previous support and resistance, and we also have the 55 EMA in place, and therefore traders having longed here would be very likely to take the profit and get out by the time price has reached this area. And on this occasion it's worked perfectly. Price has hit the zone of the EMA and the support and resistance and moved away. All of our strategies here at Forex Mentor Pro include EMAs, and we will explain them in greater detail in the relevant section.